Yes, a week late. Yes, please shut up. But it is the player podium. We are back once again, and these are the rules for those of you who have forgotten or are new around here. Up to 3 players per team are awarded points based on individual performance. Best player receives 3 points, second best receives 2 points, and third best receives 1 point. If a team has less than three outstanding players, their best performing player may receive less than 3 points. Players accumulate these points every game week and are placed onto a leaderboard, and every week one player is awarded Player of the Week. I know I was on holiday. I have a good excuse this time, and it's going to be the same this weekend. I'm going to Barcelona, so when I get back, I will record all the player podium stuff, watch highlights of the games, and do all that bollocks. These are the point scores from last week up the top, as you can remember, if you remember, and then scrolling all the way across. Erling Haaland still on his ones on 36 points. His players starting to close in on 30 point mark. Ekatike and Fernandez, and you got Semenyo stay there forever, and then Bowen. All these are on about 20 points, and then last week, Damsgaard was the player of the week, I believe, with a goal, 2 goals and an assist. Starting the video off with a bit of a damp squib of a game. This was not the most exciting. I think it's fair to say Bournemouth nil, Brentford nil. Bournemouth probably had the better go of it, I think, on balance. I think they had a few more chances, and there was one in particular. I think Christie took it round. Kelleher just couldn't get it in. Tavernier hit the post a few times, but I don't think anyone really blew my socks off in that one, to be honest. Brentford did well. They held out. They kept themselves compact and kept a clean sheet, which, I mean, away at Bournemouth is always a good thing to do. They are a pretty dangerous team with some threatening players, and I think what I want to see from Bournemouth is trying to use Evan Nilsson and Krupi in a two striker system. I think that is worth a go with Ryan on and Tavernier on the wings. I know they like to play at the 10 with Christie there sometimes, but I don't know. I think with the way that Evan Nilsson moves as a striker, I think with his off the ball capabilities, he would make a lot of space for Krupi. I think that would be a partnership that would work quite well. I mean, Krupi came on late, didn't have a massive impact. I think he had one chance which he didn't convert on, but I think trying to use those two as a double, I say double pivot, it's not midfield, but a two pronged attack with Krupi as a bit more of a central nine and Evan Nilsson and a bit more of a free. So if you've got Krupi here, Evan Nilsson can move around and make the space and stuff like that. I think that would work, but yeah, I mean, didn't get there over the line in the end. Tavernier was the one who the attacks flowed through for Bournemouth in that game. He was kind of the only one that really offered anything of notice, of value to Bournemouth, in my personal opinion. I think both defences were decent, but I think that is the nature of defensive performances when there isn't too much that happens. I think when you both keep rigid back lines, I don't think anyone really stands out. They are decent as a unit, nothing particularly special. So that's why none of them are on the point sheet, and I think Tavernier standing out definitely warrants him being there. And it's Kelleher with 1 point. Same goes for Brentford, just with a lot less attacking thrust. The defence as a whole wasn't particularly outstanding in the sense that obviously when you don't concede and when you hold a team away that you've done well, but no one I can particularly point out and say, yeah, you've had a great game. But Kelleher, when the ball did breach the defence, made some important saves. His overall goalkeeping play was good. Put Christie off for that chance. Was able to force him wide and eventually out of play. So, and he's also just had a kid, which, fair play to Geezer. So gets 1 point, not just for the kid, but for the performance. This game also not too much to say in the sense that it was just a bit of a easy day out for Everton. Burnley have looked a bit more sharp, a bit more positive in recent weeks, but this was a Burnley of midwinter performance. This was a kind of game where you look at Burnley and you think this is why they're going to go down this season. And when you look at how Wolves have been playing recently, you look at how West Ham and Forest have put in showings recently, and you start to think, I don't know, maybe maybe Burnley have got the potential to finish 20th, which a few weeks ago you'd have said is mental considering how bad Wolves were, but they are the team that look the least threatening at the moment in that relegation scrap. For me, I think Everton have got a good chance of getting Europe. They obviously this isn't a game that you base that kind of prediction off, because I mean at home to Burnley you would very much expect there to be a win, and you would hope that you would win that game. So that isn't anything particularly special per se. However, I think in the manner that they played, the manner that they just dominated the ball, they were so overwhelming in the midfield and they had a lot of chances. Maybe could have had one or two more, but I guess you don't need it when you're playing Burnley. But I think with the overall balance of this squad, I think this squad has got it in them to get into Europe. I think a Conference League place with the way that the inconsistencies that some of the teams have been showing. Well, everyone's showing really. No one can really string together good form apart from Wolves really at this moment. So there's Europe up for grabs this year, definitely from an Everton perspective. Very good work from the Everton defence, restricted Burnley to literally nothing pretty much. And Tarkowski with his goal, I'm gonna pin the accolades for that upon. Um, his finish was nice. Did his little celebration against his former club, which is what you love to see. Dyche would be rolling in his grave. But yeah, I mean they weren't troubled too much. He converted his chance when he needed to, and it was important at the time because it made it 1-0. So that's a point well earned for Tarkowski, I believe. Ndiaye seemingly back to his creative best in that game. Got an assist for Dewsbury Hall. That's who it was for Dewsbury Hall. Lovely little passing, just right the other side of the defender. Dewsbury Hall got in front of his man really well and slotted it away. Really good vision by Ndiaye. Really good communication between the two, and overall Ndiaye was just a problem, as he does tend to be, so he gets 2 points in that game. And it is Kiernan Dewsbury Hall who another goal, another massive involvement in that game, and another 3 points. He's been really good this season. His year at Chelsea last year was a bit dodgy in the sense that he couldn't prove himself. He was a Conference League feature and did well in that competition, but he's starting with his regular minute now to show that he isn't just a Maresca wet dream. He's a serious Premier League midfielder, an upper mid table Premier League midfielder definitely. Another game which is a little bit slower. This for me was particularly disappointing. I thought with the way that Leeds have been performing recently, I thought there was definitely a result up for grabs, and in the manner that Sunderland did win the game, very few chances for both teams. A penalty which you could argue against. I'm not particularly fussed either way. I would have been happy if it was not given. I don't. I think although we can't do too much about the matter, I think I can see why it was given as well. So I'm not massively offended by it. Diarra tucked it away, not very well. I mean, Darlow would have been kicking himself that went in. I think so. Yeah, it wasn't a fantastic showing overall, but I mean it's a good 3 points for Sunderland because Ellen Road has been a very difficult place to go this season for kind of since the form's turned around. Ellen Road's been the fortress that Leeds have wanted to protect. I mean, it was breached against Arsenal, but that's Arsenal. So, yeah, I mean, Sunderland. I heard Luke O'Neill speak about the 40 points. I don't know why he found that particularly relevant. They weren't going to get relegated this year. They're so far clear of the relegation zone. They have started to slow down a little bit recently, but I don't think that's massive. I think a mid-table finish is good for them. They can consolidate, they can get their prize money, and they can build on working their way up the table going forward. Stack again was the only one for me that showed kind of a momentum in this game. Again, the balance. I love the balance of him as a defensive workhorse and a flary, creative attacking player. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was his best performance, but I think he kind of stuck out in a team that was pretty underwhelming in that game. Diarra was on it because he got the goal. I'll be completely honest with you. It was a poor penalty, but it went in, and that won them the game. So that's genuinely is the only reason why he got 1 point. I know. I don't like doing that. I don't like giving people points just because they scored. But when it wins you the game in such a closely fought contest, then I kind of have handcuffed myself almost by the nature of the point system. I do think on balance, Leeds did have a couple more chances, and I think Alderete was the main wall that prevented Leeds from getting anywhere really near the goal. They've definitely got nowhere near enough points so far this season. For me, Alderete's been great so far in that Sunderland defence, and a lot of people saying he's better than Ballard. There's a bit of a debate there, but I don't know. I think the both of them they work so well together with Mukiele on the right side of them that I don't even need to worry about it. Like I don't recall Mukiele playing in that game, and I think Ballard was all right, but I thought Alderete for me was the particular brute force that Leeds couldn't really surpass, so he gets 2 points. I mean, now our loss to Wolves doesn't look too bad, does it? Draw against Arsenal, beated Vus, and then and beat Liverpool as well. They're printing, man. They're starting to turn it around. I've been saying for a while that their performances have been better than their results under Edwards, especially at the start when they kind of you could see as the games went by that they got more and more comfortable with the system. They started to believe more and more in it, and their performances were getting better. When they played us, I mean, they played well at home. When they played at Villa Park, they played well, and some could say they were slightly unlucky not to win or get any points from the game. But yeah, I mean the fact that they've started to get points now, I think, is slightly overdue for their performances. It's mad what a little bit of confidence can do to you. A good result against one team, and it really, really rejuvenates belief. I mean, they've had three massive days at that stadium now, and I still think it's just too little, too late. But I think they're gonna give it a very good go. Um, I'm not 100% convinced by Forest. I think Burnley will finish 20th this season, so I have a feeling that Wolves will put a bit of pressure on and definitely cause a bit of threat. And obviously, I'm not. I think Spurs are going to get relegated. So yeah, I think there is. If they can, I mean, even if they win 2 or 3 games, that puts them right in the thick of it. If you look at how the points difference, so yeah, I mean, Wolves aren't 100% written off just yet. Liverpool, from their perspective, this is poor. They very much failed to deceive. They were gifted a goal by Wolves, a poor pass, and I mean Salah scored, which I mean he nearly didn't. He didn't play well. I refuse to give him points for that performance. I just do. I'm not going to warrant his performance with any praise. He profited off the Wolves goal. I mean the Wolves poor pass, which I mean well done to him, but I don't think his performance was very good at all around that. And yeah, another showing where I'm not convinced at all by Liverpool. I don't know what nudes of Arne Slot Cody Gakpo's got in his wallet, but how that man continues to start games, I have no idea. I think he's so poor. The fact that Luis Diaz is doing so well as well at Bayern, like they missed that electricity on the wing, and when Ungamoa comes on, it's just night and day compared to the two players. Rodrigo Gomez with the goal that made it 1-0. Off the bench he scored. He didn't do massive amount elsewhere, but that's what you bring your players on to do. You bring them on to make an impact, and I'll speak about that for the player with 2 points. But he made an impact. He put the pressure on, got the goal, and I mean ultimately it helped them win the game. So I think that's a point well deserved. This is Arakadare had a massive performance in this game. He comes off the bench off Armstrong, who didn't do anything, and his hold-up play was great. He was a constant threat in and around the box, and this is what they want from the big man. You want him to, even if he's not playing well, you want him to be able to hold the ball up, use his strength. And Van Dijk flailed like a baby when he for the goal when Orakadare went up against him. Which, I mean, Van Dijk, he's had a very noticeably poor one-on-one defensive performances this season. So, and that's another one. I mean, if you get him done by Arakadare like that, a man who's not a bad player by any means, but hasn't been doing very well this season, you can't excuse that man. You came second in the Ballon d'Or. Like, you're one of the best centre backs we've ever seen. So that's poor from Van Dijk. But even so, around that, Arakadare had a great game. And it's Andre again with the 3 points. His overall showing in that midfield was great. He ran the show for Wolves, as he tends to do in these games. And I mean, the goal at the end, his movement was fantastic. He moved really well took the ball, carried it forward, and okay, yeah, it deflected, but who cares? The ball went in at the end of the day, so that's all that really matters. If you don't take the shot, you don't get the goal. I've said it so many times over the course of this season. So in terms of performances, Andre was fantastic, man of the match for me, and warranted 3 points. Ungamoa played in the FA Cup fixture between these two and got man of the match, I think it was. Which begs the question, why isn't he starting for Liverpool at this point? Every time he's come on, he has looked so much more energetic and so much more dangerous than Gakpo or Salah. He's had so much more to offer than both of those players. And also what you've got to think about is he's here to prove a point at the end of the day. Salah's on his way out. Gakpo's been poor. This lad, it wants to prove that he can claim a starting place. I mean, in terms of World Cup years, he's not going to go to the World Cup. I think, while I'd be intrigued to see how we do off the bench, I don't think it would be a very wise pick. and I think he knows that himself. I think at the start of the season, definitely wouldn't have expected to be on the plane, but yeah, there was so much hype in pre-season, what deservedly so. Scored against Newcastle. Um, this guy's got to start. For me, he has to be starting games in the Premier League. This would have been a game that I would have started Ngamo in, and Slot just, I don't know why he's so scared of starting Ngamo. He's proven that he can play. He wants to get at his defender. He wants to put a ball in, take a shot. He wants to be productive, which is something that Liverpool have sorely lacked this season. So yeah, give him a go, in my opinion. I watched the first half of this game, and then and went to bed. Because obviously I was in Italy last week, so yeah, I didn't catch a full game, and I'm happy I didn't because Jesus Christ Almighty, we just made it so easy for Chelsea. The high line didn't work. I've seen some of our fans getting a bit annoyed about the illusion kind of thing around the semi-automated. I don't think that's an excuse at all. If you watch the whole of the game, you could see the high line wasn't work. It was creating so much opportunity for Chelsea, and they capitalised on that in the end. I don't know why we didn't start Torres. I don't know why we started Bailey. I don't know why Barkley didn't get a go. There's so many questions around this team. Buendia's been poor recently. I'm going to speak about Watkins in a little bit, but for me, the starting 11 was all wrong. I love Emery so much, but I feel like he's been getting it wrong in recent weeks. He's been trying the same players over again. Buendia's not been working. Watkins hasn't been working. Bailey hasn't been working. We have Allison on the bench who deserves a chance after watching some of the Bailey performances. Sancho's looked one of our best players in recent weeks. Abraham won our Player of the Month for God's sake, and he scored 2 goals. I mean, he's had no game time pretty much. He hit the bar when he came on, so it is beggars belief as to why we are not playing these players. From a Chelsea perspective, this was just a walk in the park. I'll be completely honest with you. The first half was very balanced. It was a very end to end. It's quite an entertaining game to be honest. But once they got 2-1 up, and once we had our goal ruled out, they just took the sting out of the game. Um, they just looked so much better than we did. We seemed to kind of drop our heads slightly, which is poor. We just, yeah, it was just a massively, massively disappointing game. I'm not too upset by it, to be honest. I didn't think we would win, and honestly, a 4-1 loss in a fixture of this enormity and importance to our season kind of makes me hope that okay, maybe we're going to notice what's happened here and make some changes. But yeah, I mean, I can see us dropping out of the Champions League race, and I mean, if we don't win the Europa League, I'm very nervous for the state of affairs for next season. I think Gusto was very good on that right hand side, very much nullified the threat down the left, and got an assist in the end in that game for Pedro. He was good up and down the flank, which he does very well. To be fair, he's very explosive, so he can get up the right hand side fairly quickly, which worked to Chelsea's benefit in that game. So he gets a point. Possibly one of Garnacho's better games in a Chelsea shirt. I mean, Cash came off at half time, which he had a little injury. I think he's fine to play in the games upcoming, which is good. But yeah, he got burnt a little bit by Garnacho in that first half. He got an assist in the end, which I mean is a great bit of movement, and the pass was easy to Pedro, whose movement for itself was great. But yeah, Garnacho looked threatening. He looked promising. I mean, I saw Rossinha speak about him before the game. He said he's been training really well, and I think that reflected in his performance because he put in a good show. He gets a lot of criticism. I've given him plenty of criticism over the season, but I think that was a game that showed the potential of the talent in Garnacho. I mean, we came through at United, and he looked like a good talent. His opinion changed last season with his kind of attitude and his some performances, and obviously people haven't been convinced this year, which is fair enough. But I think that game does show a glimpse of the guy that still is there and the player that could still come out in him. But it had to be. Joao Pedro with Player of the Week, 1 assist and a hat trick. It's just his finishing was fantastic in that game. It really, really was. He's been in like such brilliant form this since the turn of the calendar year, and we couldn't deal with him at all. I was disappointed with Mings' performance. I would have liked to see Torres start, and I mean, in terms of I'm okay. I'm not going to speak about Torres and Tielemans and all that shit because I need to focus on Pedro. I don't want to get too distracted. All three of his finishes were good. Beating our high line really well. We struggled so badly to cope with him, and he's a nippy little guy, man. He's not very slow, so he can he has got the pace to definitely get past Mings and Konza. So yeah, it's very very deserved Player of the Week performance in my opinion. This fucking guy, man, he's such a terrorist. I'm sorry, I love Watkins. He's been such a fantastic servant to this football club, and he has had some amazing seasons for us. What the fuck has happened to him recently? I genuinely I don't know what more he needs to do to convince Emery that he should not be starting for Aston Villa in 2026. It's I hate saying it, and I feel like I'm just being like a really negative about our players, which I hate doing. I hate speaking negatively about our boys because like they in the last few seasons the turnaround that we've had to become a European fighting team has been amazing, and Watkins has had so much credit in the bank, but we are going to keep slipping down if he does keep starting. His confidence is shattered. He is so unnervy in the box. He had a chance against Jorgensen. He should have scored with the when he used the one hand to save it. He shouldn't have been offside for his goal. And whenever he gets the ball, his touch is poor. His movement is still good, but that's always been his best asset. And whenever Abraham plays, he looks so much more confident and assured in the box. So I don't understand where Watkins retains his place. I don't understand how he keeps doing it. I know Emery's a loyal guy; he has his favourites, but this is being detrimental to our season at this point, and he needs to stop starting for Aston Villa. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last season at the club. He's starting to go over now. I mean, I could very much see him at West Ham. That seems like a very Ollie Watkins move, and I think we should be looking to upgrade in the summer. But I don't like saying it. I don't like being negative about a guy who's done so much. Our Premier League records scorer, but I mean, you got to call it out. Henry's got to smell the roses. Moving on to Brighton 0 Arsenal 1. This was a bit of a slow performance from Arsenal. Even the goal they scored was a gift almost off the deflection, and Verbruggen should have done a lot better. But I think Brighton can take a lot of solace in the fact that they had a really good showing. However, at this point of the season, I think performances don't matter as much at all. Like at the start of the season, if you're winning games but you don't look good, that is a bit worrying. Because if you look at Liverpool, for example, they won a few games. They were like 8 points clear at one point, I swear, or they won like 7 of their 8 games or some shit like that. But no one was convinced by them. They looked poor, and I mean it came up and caught up with them. But this is the point of the season where you have to dig in and get the result. And Arsenal are so good at doing that. They are just so good at doing that. They are. There's a reason why they get the Haram ball and the terrorist claims and stuff like that. But in their defence, they know that that's what they need to do to get over the line and win the Premier League. They've been so naive in other seasons, and Arteta seems to me to have realised that this is what has to happen now. We cannot we can't keep up with the finishing the second place with throwing away good positions and struggling at the final hurdle. That was a performance to me that told me that this is a Premier League winning team. If you were to ask me off the back of that, I would say Arsenal win the league, but I'm not going to make a decision until Arsenal play City. I think that is gonna. If Arsenal win that game, that's going to wrap it up, and I think they are very very capable of doing that. For Brighton, they piled on the pressure for quite a lot of the game. They looked a lot better now that Minter's back in. I think when he was injured, that's where their slump kind of began, and Minter racked up a lot of points at the start of the season, so that is a factor. But yeah, their season's kind of tailed off now. They are just in the middle of the pack, and there's nothing really going on for them. I think Rutter was decent. He was trying to capitalise on some of the Minter chances, but Arsenal's defence was just so strong, so resilient, and they couldn't really do much else to break them down. Everything went well, even when they did breach the defence. Raya was there, which is what you want if you're Arsenal. But yeah, I mean, it's a good show for Rutter, who's dyed his hair according to Brighton fans. But yeah, not the most fruitful day for Brighton. Which I mean, on another day they could have scored a few more, but I guess when it's not your day, it's not your day. Minter coming back, I think, was massive for them. He's been their best player for me this season by a pretty considerable margin. They looked poor without him. Matoma, especially when he's been the one asked to carry the mantle on that wing, has looked slow. Gomez has come in his place and done well, but I don't. That's not his best position. I don't think. I think he's more of a 10. And anyway, Minter can help unlock him so much that position. He can help Gomez get goals, and then he can allow Gomez to box crash with good crosses and get the finish in the end and grab assists and stuff like that. So I think Minter coming back will revolutionise the Brighton attack for the end of the season for the last 10 games. But yeah, I think it isn't enough for them to really spring back. But to be fair, anything really can happen. We've seen the inconsistencies this season in the Premier League, so who knows? And I want to talk about these three as a unit because I mean, you could swap Hincapi out for Mosquera. I wouldn't be upset, but I think Gabriel and Timber and Hincapi and Mosquera and Raya, the whole five of them were just impenetrable. The showing that Arsenal put in, they were under pressure. Like last season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons ago, they would have lost or drawn that game. They would have dropped points. There's like no question about it. But this shows the maturity of this team now. They are an outfit that know what they have to do to win games. And I mean, it's long for Arsenal fans. They can't really catch a break. They either get called terrorists and Haramball and Arteta and Yahoo and all that stuff, or they'll get called bottlers for not winning the league. They have to do what they have to do to win the league. And this rigid, solid five defensive performance from those players tells me that they've got it in them. With how decent Fulham have been at home, I didn't necessarily expect them to lose this game, but I think the key thing is that they looked a lot worse without Harry Wilson in that style. Which I mean, say that yet last year I'd have been very surprised about because or at the start of the season because I didn't necessarily rate Harry Wilson. I don't think his output was fantastic, and I thought he was a bit of a mid-table player, a bit of a mediocre show, like a bit of a Smith Rowe kind of player. But nah, this game I think shows the importance of Wilson. Josh King came back into the side. I haven't seen too much from him of recent. He had a bit of a strong start to the season, but I don't know if he's been injured or he's fallen out of favour. I mean, he's a young lad, so he's got time to grow. But yeah, West Ham had quite a few chances there in the end. They were creating quite a little bit more, I thought, than Fulham did. I thought they were definitely the better team, and in the end, they capitalised on a very like substandard moment from Leno and the Fulham defence. They kind of stalled a little bit and they just kind of handed the ball over, and it was a good finish from Somerville to continue his fine form this season. I mentioned him a second ago, but I think Josh King, he comes back into the side and I think he shows why he has the legs to go far in the Premier League because I mean he's come back into the team after having not played too much, I don't think, in recent times, and he just looks every bit as comfortable as when he left. Kind of the only one making moves for Fulham in that game, and it was a bit. I don't think, again, like I said, I don't think he was amazing, but he was the one kind of carrying the mantle and hauling that whole team forward, so he gets a point for me. Somerville capitalising on that chance shows the confidence in himself that he would take that on, and he scored. I know there was no one in goal at the time, but I think maybe last season, maybe 7 months ago, he would have missed. He would have been maybe dawdled on it a little bit, maybe looked for the pass instead. But yeah, he's a man in form, and you can see that in the chance that he scored there. Um, he and Bowen worked really well in that game. I think Somerville, the onus was a little bit more off him in that game. I think it was transferred a little bit back to Bowen, but I think him being in that form is good for West Ham overall because it doesn't necessarily mean that when Bowen plays poorly, the whole team suffers. Like Bowen can have a slightly worse game, and Somerville will be there just to take the mantle and lead them forward. So that's very positive for West Ham for the rest of the season. And I said him a second ago, it's Jarrod Bowen with those 2 points. Does he get the assist? I don't know. I think he might have, but either way, I think he had a great performance regardless. Like I said, he doesn't have to be the main man now, which I think benefits him almost because he doesn't bear the responsibility of dragging that team on his back, which can be pretty detrimental for players at times because then you the focus on them is if you're not played well, then look how badly you do as a team, and then the team becomes so much more reliant on you by default, which can put a lot of pressure on players. But Somerville on the other side is there to ease it up a little bit, and yeah, he had a good game in that game. Somerville slightly quieter than recent weeks in terms of overall performance, but allowed Bowen to pick the team back up. This is a poor result for City. I don't want to pull any punch. This isn't good. Oh, this isn't good. Bournemouth has shown that Bournemouth, bloody hell. They have no relation to Arsenal in the slightest. Arsenal showed in the game against Brighton that they could hold out and they could grind out that result, and City did not showcase that. I know they were beaten by two really good finishes. I'm not trying to pretend that, you know, I'm not trying to say that it was awful mistakes, but I mean, you shouldn't be, you know, you shouldn't be allowing the shot in that position, in my opinion. If someone has to get a block in on the header from Jesus or prevent the shot from Gibbs-White, I think that's poor. And Anderson, you know the quality of Anderson, he shouldn't be allowed to shoot from range. I think City had a penalty shout at the end when Haaland got taken down. I think that probably was a pen. But you can't use, at this point of the season especially, you can't use that as an excuse for you drawing at home to Nottingham Forest when you're at Manchester City. You should have won that game. They really should have won that game. It's a good result for Forest. Gives them a bit of hope. I mean, their start under Pereira hasn't been fantastic, but it gives them a bit of a momentum. It shows that they can take the fight to teams, especially when they're the underdog. But they need to translate that into games where it's a bit more even. So I believe they play West Ham and Leeds, I think, before the season ends. So if they lose that game, then drawing against City doesn't mean anything at the grand scheme of things, because you can do it against City, you can get the draw against City, but when it really matters against the teams around you, when you need to take points off them and give yourself a massive 6-point swing, you can't do it. So I'll be intrigued to see how they do under Pereira for the end of the season. But yeah, overall it's a poor result for City, but Forest can take a lot of positives from that. Clinical as always, Antoine Semenyo in that game, and he got his goal and gets 1 point for that. Not a whole lot happened outside of that for Semenyo, but I don't think it was a fantastic City performance as a whole. I don't think there was much positive to be said about the team as an entity. So yeah, Semenyo with a really nice little volley, really good technique on the goal. I'll be honest with you. He did really well to get that off, so he gets a point. He got the assist again, as he does. Kind of created a lot of City's chances, I believe, in that game. Another good Shirky performance, as you kind of come to expect from the geezer. So yeah, it's a 2 point showing for him. Said City didn't have a lot of positive. I think they did control the game, but I don't think it was control in the sense of they were toying with Forest. You know, when teams can attack and sit back at will, I think City just had a lot of the ball. That's why I think Rodri gets 3 points in that game, because he controlled it from the part of City. He scored the goal to make it 2-1, which is a big moment in the game. And I think in terms of overall handling, I think he did control the game well for City. But I think that's in its nature against Nottingham Forest, because they love to sit back, and a team like City loves to control the ball, so they are going to have a lot of it. But I don't think they did too much in terms of like overall chance creation. That's why I think it wasn't a fantastic game from a City perspective, but yeah, Rodri did well in himself. A good performance from a Ballon d'Or winner, so he gets 3 points. Gibbs-White's finish was lovely, man. That little back heel was really, really sweet. I was a big fan of that, and he gets 1 point for his equaliser. It was. I mean, the ball to Jesus was overhit, but Jesus does really well to. Actually, we weren't overhit. I don't. If it was going for Gibbs-White, it was, but Jesus was there to nod it straight back to his feet. And the back heel was just lovely. Like the bollocks to pull that off. Was it 1-0 at the time? Yeah, it was 1-0 down at the time. That's impressive stuff from Gibbs-White. It shows the kind of ability he's got in his locker. See, all the praise will go to some of the English boys in that team, and rightly so. But Dominguez, I don't think you can underestimate how good he was in that game. That pass for the work he did to get the ball to Aina for Forest's first goal was great. His overall midfield performance was fantastic as well. He's a really, really good player. Hasn't really been able to shine. I mean, he's got Anderson next to him, Sangare play there as well. So those are two good players he has to compete with. Anderson especially gets all the credit in that Forest team because he is just such a good player. But for what it's worth, I think Dominguez was fantastic in that game and deserves 2 points and his own bit of recognition. I think doing a bit of an underrated job for Forest this season. He is at the 3 points. He has to be. I mean, that finish was great. Yeah, it was such a good finish. Made it 2-2, got on the point in the end, and that's a massive point in the grand scheme of things. His overall performance was good as well, as it tends to be from Anderson. Is that guy for Forest. So yeah, it's 3 points, and I don't think you can really argue against it. As a result, I didn't particularly see coming. I thought the draw was fair on the balance of play. But obviously there's a moment of magic at the end that won it for Newcastle. But I think this is a bit of a poor result from a United perspective. I don't think their performance was as good as it has been in recent weeks. They've put in some good showings, and I don't necessarily think that was one of them. They didn't play badly by any stretch of imagination, but at the same time, they could have done better. Uh, Newcastle is a good result. They've been so inconsistent this season that I think that's happened the last time they got Champions League football. It's happened again this season. If they can balance out European football and like Premier League at the same time, they'll become a good force. But I think maybe a bit of strength in depth is what they need. If you look at us, for example, I mean, since we've had Europe, since we got it, we haven't slipped out of Europe. I mean, we played in the Champions League and we got Europa League football. We played in the Conference League and got Champions League football. And in this season, obviously, it's yet to be confirmed. But I think Newcastle need that ability to juggle multiple competitions, which they have been lacking at the moment. So if they can get that sorted, they'll be a terrifying outfit for sure. Lewis Hall down that left hand side had put in a good shift. His crossing was good. I mean, I've been disappointed in Newcastle crossing performance overall as of recent, but I think his accuracy was a bit better. They didn't have a number 9 again, like a proper out and out number 9 to aim for, so it is a bit fruitless. But he's doing what he can. I think the tactics aren't fantastic at the moment, but he's working to the best of his abilities, and I think he did the same in that game as well. That goal was fantastic from Asula. That was all him. He gets the ball in his own half, drives, and just the curl on the finish. The technique is great. That's a massive moment that can give Newcastle a lot of confidence against a very informed United team. They've been playing very well recently, and for Asula to pull that out of the bag, to get the 3 points, a massive 3 points, I think that's going to give Newcastle a big jump going forward. And obviously that's all he did, but that won the game, and that was such a good moment that I think that warrants 2 points overall. And he scored this penalty, but I think Anthony Gordon deserves 3 points. I think in terms of progressive play, I think in terms of attacking threat, he was the one doing it all. Whether he was making some box crasher runs or trying to get the ball into the box, they are lacking severely that number 9 presence. Voltamada's fallen out of favour, and I haven't been massively impressed with Vista so far. But while Gordon's been forced to play in the number 9, I think obviously he's not a number 9, so he doesn't do it fantastically, but he's doing all he can. And I think a game like that, where he was quite fluid in the fact that he wasn't an out number 9, a bit of a Watkins, Evan Ilson type performance. Obviously, I say Watkins when he was actually good, but yeah, it was good work from Gordon in that game to be the main man on all fronts for Newcastle. Casemiro got the goal that made it 1-1 and kind of anchored from deep for Man United in that game. He's been good in recent weeks. He has. It's almost as since he announced that he was leaving, he's kind of decided, yeah, I'm going to show you what you're going to be missing out on. Wasn't performing well at all under Amorim, but he's picked up on the Carrick, and this is another performance that echoes that. But it is Bruno that gets the 2 points. Again, it's kind of all him, that United team. I feel like he should be at a different club. Like if he was at, I know they're rivals, but if he was at like City, he would be the best player or like the best player in the league, I think. Because if he could just feed Haaland and feed someone like Haaland, I think he would be great. I think that's why Sesko on paper works so well at United, because Bruno can just keep feeding him and keep feeding. Obviously, he hasn't played out fantastically, but there's potential for that partnership to be great. It's just that Bruno's getting on now, so it's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, this is another example of I think he is just a bit too good for United. And rounding out the game week, oh my God, it's getting a bit close for Spurs fans. Tudor already rumoured to leave the club, which, I mean, it's not going well so far, so why wouldn't you? You have to try everything when it comes to relegation. Like, if Spurs get relegated, that is unequivocally a disaster for the club. They're going to get knocked out, I think, in the Champions League to Atletico Madrid. But the way that they're playing, I can't lie, I don't see them staying up. I would love it if Spurs went down. I feel like Keegan when I say I would genuinely love it if they went down. But like, if you look at the big names there that aren't performing, if you look at the lack of effort overall on the pitch, I don't see a route for them to survive. I'm going to be completely honest with you. a lot of the teams around them want it a lot more. They do play some of the teams around them, and I think they're gonna get a nasty shot come game week 38. Archie Gray, I mean, I feel bad for him. I think he's the. I know Solanke scored and has a claim to get a point, but I think Gray is the only one that can consistently hold his head up high in that team. Um, he's putting in the effort. He'd be a great captain in the championship. But yeah, I think he's massively let down by the players around him that just aren't putting in their best. Focus a lot on Spurs when I looked over that game and their season overall, but I think Palace, when they got the momentum and got the advantage, they capitalised extremely well, and I don't think that can be taken away from them. Strand Larsen's finish was great. That goal, his movement was fantastic. Got in behind his defender and just rolled it underneath Vicario. That's all he needed to do. And while Palace didn't put in a fantastic showing, I think against Spurs you don't need to, with how bad they've been of recent. And in just that 10-minute period, they completely reversed the game around and then held out well for the win. So, yeah, Strand Larsen got the goal that made it the 2-1, swung the points back in Palace's favour, so that's 1 point for him. Ismaila Sarr put the ball in the back of the net 3 times, obviously only 2 of them counted, but he was so close for the offside. That is so unfortunate for the geezer. But I don't think he'll matter. I don't think he cares because he got a brace. In the end, obviously taking the match ball home is nice, but if your team wins and you get a brace, there's not too much else you could say about that. The penalty was well dispatched, and the finish for the third goal was really nice. Secured the result in the end and made it so that, yeah, Spurs' heads would drop even further. And with the attitude of that squad at the moment, they wouldn't have come back at all. I mean, at 2-1, I don't think they would have, but making it 3-1 is just pushing the dagger further into the hearts of the Spurs players and Spurs fans. So that's 2 points well deserved for Ismaila. But I think it is Wharton that deserves the 3 points. I think it's a toss up between the two, and if you went Ismaila Sarr, I wouldn't have been upset. But I think it is Wharton in that midfield. I think especially in that area of the pitch where Spurs are so poor at the moment, a player like him can just dominate, and that is what took place in that game. He walked all over him. They didn't have a chance with him in that field, and it's definitely 3 points that are like so well deserved in my opinion. Like Sarr could have got the 3 points. I was thinking about it, and if you went Sarr, like I said, I wouldn't be sad. But in my opinion, the way that Wharton could capitalise on that, on that lacklustre Spurs midfield and the chances he could create as a result of it warrant the 3 points. Here are our point scorers and points losers for this week up across the top here. Not too many X's this week, to be fair, at the top. Quite a few teams getting 3 points. And if I score all the way across, it's still Haaland on its own. But Fernandes closing up on 30 points. Bowen gaining ground as well. Joao Pedro moving up to 23. These are really good performing players. Got players like Ndiaye, Anderson, Dewsbury Hall, Wharton, Statch are starting to catch up now as well. And remind you that Pedro is game week 29's player of the week. And yeah, that'll be all for me. I'm obviously going to Barcelona this weekend, so when I get back from there, I will be recording and posting the reaction for game week 30, and we're really getting to the business end now. So stay tuned for that. And thank you very much, boys. Have a good one.